guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I have another interview lined up here today, and his name is Jake, and I'm going to bring him up and let him tell you his story.
Hi, everybody. How you doing?
First off, let me thank you for being here. I appreciate it so much. As I told you on Facebook, or at least I think I said it in my post, the goal of these videos, the series that I'm making here, is to possibly help other people that are going through limb loss. Just to see other people's stories and, be able to see on the other side of it, like my life's not over, it's just going to be different kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I guess just let me know what questions you want me to answer then.
Yeah, well, let's just get to know you first. How old are you?
I'm 40 years old.
Where are you from?
I consider myself from Rhode Island originally. That's where I graduated from high school from. I've moved around a lot in my life, but I'm in Greenville, South Carolina now.
Oh, wow, that's cool. I have family there. Very
Yeah, I
cool.
love this area.
What about your occupation? What do you do for a living?
I work for the planning department for the city. I'm the zoning and codes administrator.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
Yep. That's pretty fun. I run like the Board of Architectural Review and review all commercial and residential development, that type of thing.
Oh, very nice.
Yep.
Are you married? Do you have any kids?
I have an 8-year-old daughter. I am currently going through a divorce in
No.
South Carolina. It takes like a year. So come
Yeah.
April, I will no longer be married.
Okay. Yeah, I hear
Yep.
you. I've been there. um,
Yeah.
so, what about your daughter? How has she responded to the whole situation?
I think it has affected her. It definitely made her more timid in a lot of ways about like she was always very much adventurous, and she's definitely more scared about getting hurt now. So like
Yeah.
I've noticed that just like even like things like I haven't gotten her off her training wheels, and like she's a lot more
Aw.
scared of different things like that, where she usually used to have like no fear. Now she realizes that they're um, a concept of danger that I think some small kids don't get until later on.
Yeah. Like things can happen to you.
Yep.
Which I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I don't think.
No, I think
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a good thing for her, and it's definitely made her very, very compassionate. Like she is like
Aw.
unbelievable, and like especially in with people with disabilities and anything like that, she is just incredibly good with them now. So, I
Oh,
think
that's
it is
great.
probably going to be there's some benefits to it, and definitely. And also, I think anytime you see a parent like struggle through something and like
Mhm.
get through it, I think in the long run that'll be a benefit to her.
Absolutely. Absolutely. She sounds like a great kid.
Yeah, she is.
So, about your whole amputation journey,
Mhm.
how long ago did this happen for you?
In June it'll be 3 years.
Oh, okay. All right. So
Yeah.
yeah, similar to me.
Yep. So I was like 38 at the time when it happened, so I wasn't like a
Hmm.
young person. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's always good to have age on your side, though, I will say, because for me, um, my amputation happened here in Australia. And so I ended up in a ward full of other amputees, and most of them were much older than me. And, it took them longer to heal. It took them longer to get up and start walking again. So, yeah, having age on your side is definitely a good thing.
Definitely.
Like it kind of sucks that we're going to have to live longer in our lives with the disability, but we were able to bounce back quicker.
Yeah, and a lot of the amputees, at least around here, like South Carolina actually has quite a few amputees, but it's mostly from diabetes. So,
Yep,
um,
yeah, it's
you know,
very common.
so
Yeah.
and I think there's, having it from a traumatic injury has obviously its uh challenges. Like I had to have a lot of skin grafts. My whole residual limb is
Mm,
all skin grafts as well. So
mm.
that has been a major problem. But other than that, I was in very good health. So in some ways, it was fairly easy for me to bounce back.
Wow, that's crazy, all the skin grafts and stuff. I guess we can jump into that now. So
Sure.
what exactly happened? Why did you get amputated?
Okay, so it's not great. So it's just like I'm probably drinking a little too much coming out of a bar called Trackside Tavern in Decatur, Georgia, and there's a big old freight train going by. And I decided I wanted to just run and jump on the side of it. And it was going a little quick. I got on the side, but then my leg swung under, and it actually got caught in the gear going around. So it didn't cut it off; it pulled it off. So it
Oh
pulled my
man.
knee straight in half, and then pulled all the skin off of it and all the flesh.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
And like, do you like vividly remember this? Like,
yeah, very much so.
oh man,
Yeah, I
man, I
was
can.
very lucky though. Like an ambulance got there pretty quick. So,
Mm-hmm.
because it was obviously bleeding a lot, and able to get a
Yeah.
tourniquet on it quickly, and then yeah, get me to the hospital. And then as soon as I remember everything, and then they put me out when I got to the hospital.
Mm. Yeah, that's good. Um, Man, that's crazy. It's hard to even imagine going through something like that. The pain and everything. That's
Yeah. So it took a while because they had to do. I think I had 13 different surgeries where they put me under.
oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, so there's a lot to it because it was not a clean thing, and then it was quite some time afterwards till they got put on skin grafts onto it. So then that was whole other projects. And then
Yeah.
I think my last surgery was only about a year ago, my last amputation, because I had something ossification. Basically, my bone grew back.
Oh
So
wow.
they had to take it off again. So my last time getting my leg amputated was only about a year ago.
Wow. That's crazy. I've
Yep.
never heard of anything like that before.
Yeah, usually I guess it happens to kids, but it's rare to happen to adults. But yeah, it's an issue.
So like what was your experience for the medical aspect of it? Like were you in the hospital for a long time? Did they give you any kind of like physiotherapy? Did they teach you like how to get around in a wheelchair? Any of that kind of stuff?
Well, I was originally in Grady Hospital down in Atlanta, and the care down
Mhm.
there was not good at all.
Right.
Like the initial emergency care was great, like as far as like trauma surgery right off the bat to save you was good, but the like I guess we'll call it long term care there was terrible. So
Mhm.
we actually loaded me like signed out AMA, against medical advice,
Mhm.
and went to my mom's Subaru and drove up to Greenville and hobbled into the emergency room up here, had to be resubmitted. That's before I had skin grafts or anything, so I just came into emergency without a leg on. That was 2 weeks after the initial accident,
Oh
and then I
wow.
spent probably a good month and a half, maybe more than that, in the hospital in Greenville. But they said if I'd been a day or two later, I've gone septic. They didn't even
Oh my
have me
gosh.
on preventive antibiotics or anything, so it was bad. But
Yeah, as a former Atlanta native, I gotta say I'm not surprised.
yeah, it was pretty wild in there. Great is a crazy hospital. Saw some nuts
Definitely,
stuff, but
definitely.
but the care
I've
here was wonderful. So I can't
yeah.
can't really complain. Once I got into a good system, and like I mean that's one thing that's been really interesting is how learning how much you have to advocate for yourself. And I
Mhm.
was very lucky is that my wife at the time was a nurse, and she
Okay.
identified that they're not giving proper care, that they're I did like I said I wasn't on preventive antibiotics and I mean I didn't have any skin. I had a whole exposed limb. Wasn't on antibiotics. That's just nuts. So
Yeah,
like
that is
there was
nuts.
there was some kind of like just big things. They putting dry gauze just right onto the open flesh. So like one of the more painful
Oh,
things I had to do was as soon as I got to Greenville, they had to take off all that gauze when I got here, and that was
oh,
very, very painful.
I bet.
So
Oh man, that's awful. Yeah,
yeah,
for anybody listening, don't go to Grady.
yeah, if you can avoid it. But what are you gonna do?
Oh man, that's crazy. So yeah, I guess there is no kind of like physiotherapy or anything like that, like and teaching you how to transfer from like your bed to a chair, anything like that?
No, they did. Like, I mean, a little bit. I took all that stuff very well. Like, again, I'm very physically fit, and I think
Mm.
one of the, like, so I was able to, get in and out of, like, using a walker was probably the, I don't know, most convenient for me when I first was, trying to get around. I found a
Mhm.
walker to be the best because it was easier to like pull myself up and down. And then obviously a wheelchair. I really hate
Mhm.
crutches. Man, I was on crutches for like a year and I just hate them. They give me like a
Yeah.
pinched nerve in my neck. I really, when I, if I can avoid them, I do.
I feel you. I feel you. I hate them too. I see so many amputees using them too. Like they're just
Yeah.
nothing, and I can't. I
Yeah.
before I lost my leg, I was on crutches because like I couldn't straighten my leg out anymore and put my heel on the ground or put any pressure on it or anything. So yeah, I was on crutches and I kept falling and stuff. Like so yeah, I refuse. I simply refuse. I will not touch crutches.
Yeah. I would rather be in, a wheelchair than crutches personally.
Yep,
Like it is,
absolutely.
they just, I don't know. I mean, obviously they have their purposes. They're wonderful tools that you need at some points, but you know, if I can avoid them, I do.
Yep. Same. Same. That leads into my next question. Actually, I was going to ask, what kind of mobility aids have you used?
Like I said, for a long time, I preferred the walker,
Mm-hmm.
um, over most things, but a wheelchair, and I mean, occasionally I still have to use crutches just because it's a pain using a wheelchair or anything, getting in and out of like cars, and using it in cars and things like that. Um,
Mm.
like I'm actually dealing with the skin because every now and then, like again, because my skin's my worst part because it's all skin grafts and it's all scar tissue. It's pretty gnarly.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have skin if my socket's not fitting great. I'll have a skin issue. Like right now, I'm actually dealing with a skin issue, and I'm not wearing my leg like this week, just trying to like let it all heal up.
Yep.
And I've been having to use crutches to get to like basically to and from work. But then at work, I have a wheelchair there, and I found
Mm-hmm.
incredibly good at hopping. Very very good at hopping. I can hop with a pint glass and not spill it. So that is
Wow.
my
Yeah,
claim to
that's
fame.
impressive. I
So
can't even I can't even carry a full cup of coffee in my wheelchair, so that's impressive.
yeah, I mean, and that's one thing you're gonna, I guess, when you start learning is how to move around, like how to cook yourself breakfast and stuff. Like if you don't have your leg on or something like that, is
Yeah.
like I don't know, placing things around in different ways. You kind of get used to. I don't know how you can move and how to, you can figure out
Yeah.
ways to do things.
Yeah.
So you get
Yeah.
you start thinking about because at first you keep like forgetting everything and like I don't know how to proceed and you have to like just take so much longer, but then kind of get a system.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
I think I've only once forgotten I wasn't wearing a leg and like tried to stand up and fell over. So, just like, but
Yeah,
yeah,
that happens. It
yeah.
does. Um, my last fall, my brother had let me use his knee scooter that he had
Hmm.
got when he like broke his leg or something. And I was just trying it out and I was in his kitchen and I was pouring myself a glass of juice and the thing just slid out from under me. And I'm like 3 years post op, and but still my brain was just like, all right, extend your leg, extend your
Yeah.
leg. So that's what I did, and then I fell right on my stump, which was not great, but
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Now, are you above the knee amputee or below?
I'm below.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. I'm above the knee, so I'm my left above the knee amputee.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I missed asking that.
Yeah.
uh yeah, I'm a right below knee.
Hmm. And I hear that like there's I obviously advantages to having your knee, no doubt, but I also hear it's
Mhm.
it's a smaller bone and like can be kind of more
Yep.
painful sometimes to walk on it and stuff. Because I mean,
Yeah.
again, I don't really feel much in my skin, but I don't have much pain or anything walking on my residual limb, and
Mhm.
it supports because it's my femur. It supports weight pretty well, and I've
Yeah.
heard that sometimes below knee can be a little tougher in that regard sometimes. But, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
and I assume
definitely.
falling on it probably hurts a lot.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Um And yeah, as far as being in a prosthetic goes, it definitely does, especially when you bottom out in your prosthetic.
Mm,
Yeah, it can hurt to put all that pressure on that little bone.
yeah. And that's like one, I guess, advantage and disadvantage I have is that because it's all skin grafts down there, I can't really feel the surface of it.
Mm.
So, just bottoming out stuff doesn't really bother me too much, but then I don't know what's happening. So then
Yeah,
I'll sometimes take off my prosthetic and have a big issue because I had no clue what was going on. So,
yeah,
that's not great necessarily.
yeah.
Now, did they ever have you on gabapentin for nerve pain?
No, I can't remember what exactly they had me on in the hospital, but by the time I left the hospital, I wasn't on any kind of like hard pain med or anything.
Oh, nice.
Um, yeah, they've actually they put me on a couple of different antidepressants because one I also have depression, so it's like a double whammy kind of thing. They can kind of hit both, but apparently depression meds are really good for nerve damage.
Oh, wow,
Um,
that's interesting.
yeah. So yeah, they've got me on two different kinds of that, and that usually helps. And for any kind of like breakthrough pain, I'm on medical cannabis.
Oh, cool. Yeah, there's actually a law in South Carolina that just got passed by the Senate to bring in medical marijuana in South Carolina. So it might be coming here finally.
It is a godsend, honestly. Like
Oh yeah.
especially for phantom pain, like it kind of mutes it. Like it doesn't make it go away. Like you can kind of still feel it, but it's very muted.
Mm,
Um, I
yeah.
love it. It's
Oh,
done
that
it's done wonders.
Yeah, I cannot wait till that becomes an option here because I did not like pain medicine. I found it pretty easy to get off the pain medicine when I came out of the hospital. They had me on
That's
tons
good.
when I was in the hospital, but then they put me on this nerve medicine, that gabapentin stuff, and they like really promoted that heavily. But I found that
Mm,
very, very hard to come off of. Like
mhm,
I found the withdrawals from that were just as like more severe for me than it was pain meds. So like,
mm,
and it was one of those weird things where you just didn't know, like, until I came off them, I couldn't tell what was real pain and what wasn't because like I would like every day I had to kind of like have a flare up and have to take more pills. But then when I finally got off it completely, I was basically in very rarely do I have nerve pain. I mean, I have some, but like nothing.
mhm.
It was worse when I was on it. It was more of a roller coaster then. It was weird.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Yeah, no,
Right.
it's definitely I know it's common for that to be prescribed, especially in the States, because I think both of the other people that I've interviewed, they both live in the States, and I believe they were both on gabapentin.
Yeah, they push it really hard here. Because they don't want you on pain medicine and then this stuff, but this seems to have like, well, to me, it had all like the negative effects of pain medicine without any like, I don't know, real benefit. But I was like,
Yeah, none of the fun
I was
stuff.
not a fan personally. Yeah, none of the fun stuff
Yeah.
and all the negative stuff. I was like, but it took me a while to get off that, but eventually I did because I tried to like kind of go cold turkey on that, and I found the withdrawals to be just rough, like headaches, really felt like terrible. But
Mhm.
I just took it down over about a month's time and was able to get off of it. And then only then could I really assess what was real nerve pain and what was just my brain telling me I was in pain because it wanted more medicine. So
Right.
as far as aids I use regularly, I really found hiking sticks, like the walking sticks, were
Mhm.
really, really beneficial for me because I do a lot of hiking and stuff. So I found those to be really, really helpful.
Okay. Yeah, I was actually going to ask you about fitness as well, seeing as we met in a an amputee fitness group,
Yeah.
and just by looking at you, you can tell that fitness is very important to you. I was going to ask, like, how has that been affected, and in what ways do you still try to stay fit?
hmm I've kind of given up on trying to run. Like my prosthetist keeps trying to get me to like to run, but I'm just so worried about like doing like knee damage to my other knee. I'm just like, ah. So
Right.
I don't really go running at all, but I do a lot of hiking. I do a lot of weightlifting and bike riding.
Okay.
Now I found some, I don't know, I guess hints for bike riding is I got magnetic pedals, so I didn't want to be
Huh.
fully clipped in, but I found that pushing down on the pedal, your leg stays on it, but then on the upswing is where it comes off, and you don't realize it's falling off, kind of thing. So I
Mm.
found they had magnetic pedals. So I have like metal, I don't know, metal pieces on the bottom of my shoes. They're like bike shoes, same ones that would like clip in on most bikes, but then they have just like a metal plate on the bottom and a magnet
Huh.
in the pedal, so it keeps it onto the pedal.
Oh, that's
Um,
cool.
yeah, I also found that for some reason I had to like adjust my foot so that it was kind of like pigeon toed on that side because otherwise I'd hit my heel on the crank as it went around.
Huh.
So those are the little things. So you kind of got to get used to adjusting your foot on your own. So I got
Yeah.
myself a little torque wrench so I could make sure I got all the Allen wrenches to the right adjustments and everything. So
Oh wow, look at you.
yeah, but yeah, I do a lot of swimming, and I got real lucky. So I got right off the bat a Genium X3 um, bionic knee. So it's one of the
Oh,
only microprocessor knees that can go in the water.
oh, that's
So
awesome.
yeah, and a little hint to get that through my insurance. It's also the only knee that is dust resistant. So
Huh.
since my job site, I have to go on like job sites when they're during construction, have lots of dust and everything. Was
Right.
how I was able to get my insurance to agree to that knee. Is not the fact that it's waterproof, but because it's dust proof.
Heck
So
yeah.
a little hint if anyone's trying to get that knee,
That's
that might
awesome.
help you. Yeah. So
Have you ever tried swimming without the leg?
yeah, I've actually found that if I'm going to do like real swimming, I still will probably usually take off the leg because
Mm.
even though it is waterproof and everything, it is very heavy
Yeah.
and not super beneficial for swimming. If I'm in
Right.
like pools and stuff and like going in and out of the water, I'll leave it on. But if I'm going to be spending a lot of time swimming, I'll take it right off.
Hmm. Yeah, because that was one of the few things that I got to do in the hospital. They actually had a pool in the hospital that I was in,
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
yeah, so they took me down to go swimming a few times, and the weirdest thing happened. Like, it feels like the rest of my leg is up out of the water when I'm
Mm.
swimming. Like from my knee up, it feels like, yeah, it's just up out of the water, but it's like, no, it's not there.
That's so funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
It- that's been
Um.
the weirdest things is all like those how like initially when I first had my amputation, I could still feel my toes and everything, and like I could feel like I could
Yep.
wiggle them. Even right now, I can kind of like think about that way. And when I started
Yeah.
wearing my prosthetic, it made it feel like when I touched down, it made it feel like that was the bottom of my foot. I guess the best way to describe it. So
Yes.
it felt like the bottom of my foot was like way up here. It was really
Yes.
weird.
Yeah,
So that
that's very common. It's called telescoping. I learned about that while
ah
I was in the hospital, because one of the other amputees in the ward was experiencing something like that, and so they mentioned it to the doctor when they were doing their rounds one day, and yeah, we all found out that it's called telescoping.
interesting.
Yeah, that's when it feels like your toes and stuff are on the end of your stump, and like that's the bottom of your foot.
Yeah.
Um, because like it first happened to me. They gave me what was called a rigid dressing. I don't know if you got one of those, but it's basically like a helmet for your stump.
Oh, okay.
Um, and yeah, so I had that on, and it kind of felt like I was wearing a shoe that was too tight. Like my toes were
Mm.
right up against the the front of the shoe.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That
yeah,
that's a good way to describe how mine felt initially. Is weird. I,
yeah,
I was I was able to walk pretty much right away on mine. I think part of it is I grew up. My dad does drywall finishing. That is like sheetrock and drywall, and
yeah,
they
yeah,
they
yeah.
they work on stilts. So like I
Uh-huh.
grew up doing that as well. So I grew up working on like industrial stilts.
Mhm.
So it feels a lot like that, like having a stilt on one leg. It's kind of
Yeah,
a way to feel. So like it wasn't.
yeah.
I took to it pretty quickly when I started going on them.
Yeah,
So
I mean, that's great. That's great that you had like this past experience that was able to help you in walking and stuff. That's really cool.
yeah. So
So what would you say has been like the biggest challenge of all of this?
um, oof. I mean, everything is harder. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
long and short of it. It's just absolutely everything is harder. There are certain like
Mhm.
hills that are just so steep that you got to like crawl. Like I guess humility, like you are. you're gonna look weird sometimes. Like if you're trying to like push yourself and go things, you're gonna look abnormal. Um, I guess I don't know. Yeah, just I guess mobility issues would be not being able to like I can't run. I used to love going running.
Mm.
Um, I may be able to learn if I want to. But again, like I'm so nervous about hurting my other knee that I'm not probably not, and I'll never like really be quick like I was. So, um, and for me, it's been like the skin breakdown issues is the biggest issue. So,
Yeah, I can imagine.
and like advocating for yourself, like not like I mean, I've had good prosthetists, but like sometimes you have to be very forceful about what you want, and you're like, no, it still isn't right, still isn't right. Like sending things back a bunch of times till you get it. It's hard to be like to kind of advocate for yourself when it comes to healthcare. Um,
Yeah.
I guess those are probably the biggest things. But
Yeah, yeah,
my job
definitely.
really hasn't been super affected by it, so that was good. I can pretty much go around all the job sites like I need to. Um, I do like sometimes bring a cane and stuff just in the back of my work car just for stability of going through like very uneven ground and things like that.
Mhm.
Um, uh, but in general, I can do most things. It just, obviously things are harder. There are just certain steepnesses of hills that I feel like if I had a more flexible foot, I might be able to get up them easier. But sometimes it can be very, very challenging, that type of thing. But um, yeah, things are slower. Carrying very heavy objects can be very awkward. Um,
Mm.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, everything's just harder. I mean, in general, that's the long and short of it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the
definitely.
patience, like right now, like I'm trying to not wear my leg so that my thing heals. Because I'm a little afraid that maybe my bone grew again, just because that's what happened last time when it wouldn't heal up. Was that actually the
Mm.
bone had been growing, and that's what's causing. I'm really hoping that's not it. So like that kind of anxiety, and for me, it's like not knowing, like when I do have skin breakdown issues, is what's causing it, and not always knowing what it is, because it can be a lot of times for me. It's been when it's not that I'm hitting too hard at the bottom, so I can either be hitting too hard at the bottom, or if I have too much gap on the bottom, I have a vacuum pump in there, so like it'll
Mhm.
cause blisters and stuff. So like it's very hard for me to know if the bone's growing again, or if I'm hitting too hard at the bottom of the socket, or if I'm too far off the bottom of the socket. So it can be
Mhm.
like anything. So like I don't mind if I know what to do, I will push myself incredibly hard to do it. But when I don't
Mhm.
know what to do is the hardest for me. And I still haven't felt like I've found a doctor that is an expert in the field. So like
Mhm.
I don't know. That's been the hardest thing, is just not knowing what to do sometimes when I'm having issues.
Yeah. Yeah, that can be frustrating. Thankfully, for me, I had a pretty good doctor in the hospital. He's written books about being, having amputations and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, he was very intelligent as far as that goes. But yeah, my GP, he has no idea. Like he's a great guy and everything, but he's like he doesn't really know anything about being an amputee or anything like
Yeah,
that. So
that's how I felt. And I went to like a dermatologist too, because I was like, oh, I figure I should probably get one to have it, because and she's like, I have no clue. Like I've never seen anything like this before in my life. I'm like, okay, well, worth a shot. But yeah, my general doctors don't really know. They're not experts in it. So like I don't even know where to go to find like a true expert. So
yeah.
now if
Sorry, I just noticed your leg lamp in the background. That's
oh
awesome.
yeah, yeah, my sister got that for Christmas for me.
I love
Right.
it.
Yeah. And honestly though, like if it turns out that what is going, because I think I'm getting X-ray March 8th or whatever to find out if the bone is growing or not.
Mm.
And if it is, I might actually try for the osseointegration. Have you heard about that?
I have. But
Yeah.
you can explain it for the people that have no
Oh, okay.
idea.
So, for people who have like don't take sockets very well, again, because I have like a lot of skin issues and things like that, there is the option of basically driving a metal rod inside. It would go inside my femur, and it basically have like a almost like a screw coming out the end of it, and then the prosthetic leg would bolt onto the end of my that post coming out of my femur.
Yeah.
Now, in some ways, it's really good for, skin breakdown, that type of thing, but you do have a piece of metal protruding from your skin. So there's always the
Mhm.
chance of infection around that. And then it's going inside your femur where, your bone marrow is, where all your white blood cells are made for fighting infection. So that's
Right.
also a little bit of a scary thing. And then if you were to ever have like an accident where that metal broke out of the femur, I can't imagine how horrific that would be. So,
Mhm.
there's some very good things about it. And like the nice things would be like very secure on there. Like I would
Yep.
love to like have the, that kind of connection. Cause right now, even no matter how good the socket is, you have that fleshiness of your residual limb where it moves around on it and stuff. So,
Mhm.
there's always that motion that would be nice if it was a little, just anchored right in there. So, if it turns out that it's growing again, I'm probably going to at least explore that as an option to see.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
that makes sense. I probably would too.
yeah, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But
Well, good luck on your scan and everything.
thank you, thank you. Hopefully, by that time the skin will have all closed up. Yeah. So like last weekend, I had been like a whole week off without wearing it, and then last weekend I put it on, and me and my daughter did one of those like high ropes courses, and like
Mhm.
so did one of those, and like when I took it off, there was the thing had opened back up, but it might have been just
Mhm.
that I put it back on too early before it was totally healed. Because I just
Mhm.
recently got a new socket because my old one wasn't fitting right. So,
Yep.
but yeah, still was able to get around all the tight ropes and whatnot up there in the trees. So it was challenging but fun.
Yeah, I'm impressed. I don't think I could do any of that.
I'm pretty mobile, thank goodness. But
Yeah, yeah, and you've definitely managed to keep fit. You're still looking great.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it hasn't. It's been good. I kind of like. I don't know. I kind of figure that I have to stay in really, really good shape now because you know, as I'm getting older, getting in and out of the bathtub and things like that are going to be,
Yeah.
issues. So like, I kind of feel like I have to be in really, really good shape now. Otherwise, aging is
Yeah.
going to be problematic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely going to be easier on you. Yeah, you're being smart about it.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
But
Well, that was basically all my questions for you. If you have anything, like any piece of advice that you'd like to give somebody who's going through this, yeah, any just
oh,
closing thoughts?
yeah, I mean, I think reaching out to people online. I've gotten a lot of good information from that. There's different products that I've found when I was having like what is it called? Basically, there like when I've had like skin breakdown issues in the past. Sometimes I've used I cannot remember the skin glide something glide, but basically it's like
Mhm.
two pieces of fabric sewn together. It's you can buy it on the amputee store online.
Hmm.
Um, and it's almost like like the fabric that like a lot of Halloween costumes are made of. Like it's black
Yeah.
and very, very sheer, very slippery. It's like
Yeah.
double layer of that sewn together at the edge so it can slide back and forth. So I've used that on the end of my stump where I've having like rubbing issues, and that's worked incredibly
Oh.
well. So other than that, I'd say just I don't know if you can approach life as a challenge and start looking at things as almost like a game of like how are you going to do it, how is it going to work, instead of just like a depression way of like how hard everything is, and just try to
Mhm.
treat it as like a challenge of a game. That's the only thing I
Yeah.
can kind of say.
Yeah, no, that's great advice.
That's been my mentality. Is that like you look at it as okay, how can this you know what can I do? Like, how can I solve this problem? Look at it that kind of way, as almost a puzzle instead
Right.
of just this sucks kind of thing. And I
Yeah.
mean, there's gonna be days though that's just gonna suck. I mean, there's Yeah, there's days you wake up and you're just like, oh, I just don't want to deal with this today. If I could just get up and walk easily. But
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, and I mean that's totally fine too. Like it's okay to have days like that and to get frustrated about it, and because it's frustrating. Like you said, everything is more difficult. Um, but it's just all about finding your new normal, and things get easier and easier as time goes on. I'm finding,
yeah.
once you figure out your new normal and how to do things now, you just get better and better at it.
And I've also found that people are just so nice to me now. I just it showed me a lot of good in people because people do want to help you, and like
Yeah.
people I think it broke down a lot more people will come up and just start talking to you, honestly, and like you just find that there is a lot of very nice people who are trying to figure out some way to do good to other strangers, and embrace that. Don't feel, I guess, embarrassed to ask for help or to accept help. People really do like helping you most of the time.
Hmm.
So, even if they're strangers, if you need a hand, a lot of times if you just ask, they will give it to you. So, but yeah, you do realize there's a lot of very good people out there, and most people are looking to help other people. So I do
Yeah.
get,
Yeah.
I do get a thanks for my service a lot more than I'd like, but you're like, oh no, that's not at all. I'm a drunken asshole, not a bet. Sorry.
Yeah, I haven't gotten that one yet.
Yeah,
Yeah, I imagine that's pretty common with you being a guy and all.
yeah, it is.
Well, yeah, that I think that this has been a pretty great interview, and I'm so glad that you came on and told your story. It's definitely very different than anything I've ever heard. And I want to commend you on your attitude. Just how positive you seem about everything and how you've bounced back from this. It's truly it's admirable. It is.
Thank you. That's one of the things I've had. A lot of people have actually told me that my positivity actually like helped them get through hard times, and that's why I kind of wanted the amputation to be a positive thing in the long run. If I can if anything can come out of it good, it would be nice.
Yeah, yeah. You got to make lemonade out of those lemons.
Yep. Well, it's been a pleasure.
All right. Well, yeah. I will. I'll pull you down here and do my outro.
Excellent. Have a nice
All
day.
right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.